morning. Good morning. And welcome to today's Depth Foundation class. Welcome to today's Depth Foundation class. We'll start in 10 minutes, okay? We're going to kick off in 10 minutes so that people can join. Today's class is very important. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. Yeah, I think I got what I want. Okay. So we'll start soon. We're going to kick it off soon. Okay. So excuse me. Yes, thank you for joining the Depth Foundation class this morning. My name is Abuchi Okaro. I'm the founder of Depth Foundation, a non-religious organization that teaches of inner transformation. It means that the teachings of the Bible are the cycle that is taking place in your consciousness. Okay? And all the characters and actors in the Bible are simply the personification of your consciousness and its different attributes. That also means that those characters are not historical figures that lived in this plane of time and space, just like we're living today communally. Okay? They are just fictional characters. So they were characters that were used as conveyor belt to convey the deeper teachings of the Bible, which is actually psychological. Okay? So that psychological means is an event that is taking place in your consciousness as we speak now. So I know that in the Christendom, you have been taught the Bible as an account of people that lived so many thousand years ago. This teaching is not the true teachings of the Bible. And it's faulty, okay? And that is why there is so much confusion in the teachings, so much confusion and so much contradiction in the teachings of the Christendom. Don't make a mistake. I am a Christian, okay? The Bible is a book. In as much as I am a Christian, the Bible is a book that is applicable to all human beings. All you need to do is to be a human being walking on the surface of this earth. That's all you need to do. Be a human being, full-fledged human being, be a human being, basically, walking on the surface of this earth. That book is applicable to you. That book is your autobiography. That book is a manual for you to operate your world of consciousness. And consciousness is your true self, okay? Now, I want to talk a bit about what consciousness is, all right? But before that, today's topic is unpacking prayer and faith. Unpacking, so we want to unbundle prayer and faith. The reason is to, basically why many pray, but few gets answered. So we want to show you how you can pray to get answered, okay? Many people pray every day, okay? But why do only few actually see transformation? Many people pray every day, but why do only few actually see transformation? Okay, this is what we want to unbundle today. Okay, at the end of this class, you would learn the true meaning of prayer and faith and how to apply it. Because for transformative living, because both of them, okay, works hand in hand to get you to where you want to be. And typical example of the relationship between prayer and faith is like your car and the fuel to get you from point A to point B. So we're going to explain all of those and simplify it today, okay? And show you how you can practically apply it to then begin getting answers to your prayer. That way, you can then mold your life, transform it as it seems pleasing to you. Okay, so that is what we are here for today. Okay, so but before we start, I want to cite an example of why the Christendom model of teaching is not what the Bible actually teaches. I'll give you an example. I will give you an example with the ultimate character in the Bible, okay, which is God, okay? Now, here is the difference between the foundation teaching and the mainstream Christendom teaching, okay? The mainstream, let's start with the mainstream Christendom teaching. The mainstream Christendom teaching teaches you that God or divinity is external to you. That is, there is a God outside of yourself. That God is outside of yourself. And by the way, he lives in the sky. This is their teaching. Okay? Characters, okay, are that's obviously external to you because they are separate from, because they were individuals that lived some thousands of years ago. So this is where, so what the reason for this clarification, okay, is that you need the clarity as to what the foundation mission is and what you currently have, because people could listen to, there is a chance, okay, you listen to their foundation teaching and call it anti-Christian teaching. So I want to clarify that their foundation teaching is not anti-Christian, it is Christian teaching. I'm a Christian, I'm the founder, and I am a Christian, full-fledged Christian. So the teaching is not anti-Christian, okay? The only difference between what we teach or what I teach and what you currently get taught in the Christendom is what I'm about to explain, okay? Is basically, the summary of it is we disagree in the final analysis, okay? We are Christian, okay? We teach from the same book, but the final analysis, the fundamental of that book is just what is different between both teachings, okay? And we are not teaching, like, we are basically non-religious organization, okay? At the end of the day, you understand why I said we are non-religious organization, okay? Even if I am a Christian, this organization, okay, is non-religious organization. Do you understand? You will understand that by the time I explain these differences. Okay, so back to the explanation. They teach you that the divinity, God, is external to you, is separate from you. They teach you there's a God in the sky that then made you and put you on earth, okay? So it's different from you. They also teach you that all of the characters and other characters in the Bible, okay, and the actors in the Bible, they tell you that they are people that lived just like you and I here on earth, okay? Now, what the Deaf Foundation teaches is that God is not, they claim they draw their teaching from, so the Christendom claim they draw their teaching from the Bible, okay? Now, what the Deaf Foundation teaches is that God is not separate from you. God is not external to you. And those other characters in the Bible are also not separate from you, and they are not external to you, okay? So God, which is the supreme character in the Bible, okay, is your consciousness. That is, it is your awareness of being, unconditioned awareness of being. That is your consciousness. That is your true self. Okay? And this is the way I explain it to people to understand, or before I even come to that. So it is your consciousness, and that's your true self. Now, since the Christendom claim they draw their own teachings from the Bible, now let me tell you where we draw our own teaching, which is also that Bible, but in the final analysis, they say it is external. So they draw the teaching out of the Bible, but they see God as external. Now, we draw the teaching from the Bible, but we see God as internal, something that is not separate from you. So how do we also know that in the Bible? Okay, if you go to Exodus, okay, if you go to Exodus, permit me to open Exodus. So if you go to Exodus 3:14, this is how we know that God is our consciousness, okay? So that term, God, in the Bible is actually your consciousness, your awareness of being. So if you go to Exodus 3:14, it says, God said to Moses, I am that I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent you, okay? I am has sent you. Say to the Israelites, if you go to 15, it says, say to the Israelite, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, okay? And that's the name you shall call me from what? Generation to generation, okay? So what that means is God's name, original name, and the eternal name is I am. Then he included that I am. Okay, so I am, how is it consciousness? I am is unconditioned awareness of being. That I am, because remember it's I am that I am. So that I am, so I am is unconditioned awareness of being. That I am is the conditioned state that the unconditioned awareness of being has taken. So two things are involved. There's an unconditioned state, conditioning a state. That's God's name, and that's his name forever. How do we know that I am is consciousness? The way we know is I am is consciousness because it's saying I am this, but it has not mentioned at I am level, it hasn't become that. So it's just that I am. So I am, that is, I am aware, awareness. When you are aware. And that's what you are. You as a human being, you are aware. Okay? I am, that's awareness. Unconditioned awareness of being. You are aware. Okay? Now, what are you aware of? That's the question. What are you aware of? Please disconnect. All right. So I think I'll just have to move on with thank God Facebook is back. All right. So I was trying to explain that I am is unconditioned awareness of being. That's I am. Okay. So now how we know is consciousness. Okay. Because I am, you already know now, and that's his name forever. Okay. That's it from generation to generation. That's his name eternal for eternity. So I am is unconditioned awareness of being, because I am is just awareness, unconditioned awareness. We don't know what you are yet. So what are you? You then became me. And that's why in Genesis, he said, let's make man in our own image. That what that is teaching you is there was consciousness, unconditioned consciousness, making man in our own image. That unconditioned consciousness became man. That's make man in our own image and likeness. That's what he's saying. Became man. Okay. So you are, what are you? You now became Abushi. So it means you are God in this form. That's what it means. And you are actual God. That I am saying you are God in this form does not mean that because you are in this form, you are, you are some kind of God. No, you remain like you are that God of the Bible, that omnipotent, omniscience, omnipresent, that Lord, that the King of Kings, that these are all of those names that was given to God. That's who you are. Even in this form, that's who you are. Because you cannot separate I am from that I am. And that's what that Genesis told you. Let's make man in our image and likeness. And by the way, when the Bible references man, it's generic. It's not just the male species. The man of the Bible is actually all creation, all created, all creation. That's what he referenced as man. Okay, so that I am. So that's how we know. And how do you even know further? is that when you say I am, you can never refer to any other thing except yourself. I am is first person present tense, contemporary presence. If I say I am now, I can only refer to myself. If you say I am, you can only refer to yourself. And the thing about I am, you can never say I am without that I am without. So both that consciousness and its conditioned state are one and the same. That's why Jesus said, I and my Father are one. He's just trying to tell you that all things are one. In this third dimension, this is word polarity, where it is separate, but in the actual sense, nothing is separate. And that's why, it's all over the nation. So, for example, there's a tree. You will be seeing the tree as separate from you. Okay? If the tree, that this tree is separate, is standing here, I'm here, is separate from me. But it's not separate. In fact, that is what scientists have discovered. They call it the holy mystery. They see that there's actually energy, it's tied to everybody, frequency that connects everything. Nothing is actually separate in the real sense of the things. But if you now want to explain it in narrative form, okay, the tree and a man, okay, they are not separate. The man provides that for the tree, and the tree provides for the food. And the man adds manure to the tree. It's the same thing. That's why even if you study evolution, okay, when they talk about some animals that want to go into it, it's because there has been, there has been interruption in the evolutionary trend, or something has happened. So for that reason, we are all at the end. So there is no support, imbalance. You understand it is balance is harmony. That is our nature. That's connection. That's inseparable. The moment you separate, you have created imbalance and it becomes chaos. Let me not bore you all of those is, but the point I'm trying to make here is I am is separatable. Okay, so it's the way to even explain it better is that I came that I am to have that experience of that I am. God became me, and in becoming me, he did not drop divinity somewhere. It is me who became me, basically, to experience me and the world around me. So whenever you speak of I am, it is your consciousness. I've explained how is your consciousness. It is also the God of the Bible, and I've explained that. Okay, that's why if you even go further in the scripture, it tells you there is no God outside of me. It still points to me. Okay, don't worship any other God in heaven. Don't worship any image in heaven, on earth, and the water beneath. But what you find is that people, that Christendom teaching is making you, it's idolatrous in nature, because it is making you worship a God outside of you. How? The God you're worshiping today is an image in your mind. And the Bible clearly told you, don't worship any other image anywhere. It's an image you believe is in the sky. Okay? And the very idea of believing in God is flawed. God should be experiential to you. There is a difference between something that is believed and something that is experiential. If something is experiential to you, you are safe, you are free, because you know it. That's why I'm teaching what I'm teaching today. What I'm teaching today is experiential to me. But the Christendom teaching, after they had claimed God is outside of us in the sky, is still not experiential to anybody till today. For the hundreds or thousands of years they've been teaching it, I don't know how this, but it is still not experiential in the way they teach it, which is flawed. That's not what the Bible meant. Okay, so it's still not experiential to people, and that's why they are comfortable with believing. And the problem with believing in itself, believing is just faking, by the way. And that's why when I see, the so-called Christendom followers, the so-called born agains of this world, categorizing some people as atheists or whatever they call them, I always remind them that, look, you who believe in God and those who does not believe in God are on the same boat. How? The only difference between both of you is one is honest, one is dishonest. But how? Those who believe in God, believing in something is owning, is you accepting you do not know it. But in knowing that you did not know it, in knowing that it is not experiential to you, you are okay with pretending it's experiential to you. You are okay with being dishonest that you know it. But those who do not believe in God, those they call unbelievers and atheists and all kinds of names, or agnostics and all of those kind of things, are people who, just like you, also know it is not experiential to them. They don't know it. Okay? But they accept the fact that they know it. They are honest to say, I'm okay, I don't know it, and I am fine. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Those who don't know it, but pretend they know it, have shut the door on the possibility of knowing. Because what is there to know again when you have told yourself you know it? You won't open yourself up again to the possibility of knowing. Those who don't know it and accept that they don't know it have what? Opened the possibility of the door to knowing. Because they are still open to knowing, because they have said they don't know it and they still want to know it. They are the true seekers. Okay, so this is all of those idea of God. And to just close out on this and go straight to the topic for today, I just wanted to establish what God is and who God is. It's always important in our teaching to first establish this thing before going into, because that is the basis, that's the foundation where our entire teaching stands. These simple differences between a God that is external, according to the mainstream Christendom, and a God that is internal, that is me, that is not separate from me, according to their foundation teaching. Okay? So that's why it's important. So pardon me that I spent 30 minutes explaining it, but I'm rounding it off now. In the proper topic we need to do today, which is unbundling prayer and faith for transformative living, we will teach the right way to use belief. You don't use belief in saying there's God existing. Do you understand? There's a way to use it in the way we teach, the Bible, which is true, by the way, is the original meanings of the Bible teaching. It's actually called esoteric teachings of the Bible. That is the hidden deeper meanings. Okay, a book that literal, that has a literal story. That's not what it is. Okay, it's actually a code. Every teaching in it is coded. You need to break the code. You need to unlock it to be able to see deeper meanings, which are always psychological traumas taking place in your consciousness. Okay, so now to round this aspect off and go into our next teaching, how do you know, what does awareness really mean? What awareness really means, the way to understand it is this. There is a philosopher that he exists only because he thinks. So the way he put it, I think, therefore I exist. I exist. That's flawed. You cannot think. Your existence can be based on the fact that you think. Because when I ask you the question, how do you know you're thinking? Let's relate it to you. When you think, how do you know you are thinking? Put it in the comment section. When you think, how do you know you're thinking? The only way you know you're thinking is because there is an observer observing those thoughts. That observer is consciousness, and that's the God of your Bible. Now, let's go to what we have to discuss today. Unbundling prayer and faith. Now, let's start with what is prayer. I know that in the Christendom, they have been teaching you, okay, I was part of it. We know how we pray, exactly the way we were clearly told not to pray. That's how we pray in the Christendom. This is the problem with the teaching. It's contradictory in principles. The Bible says don't do this, but you're doing it. Okay? That's contradiction of principle. It causes so much confusion. And it is only because they teach it as a literal book, other than a book of code, that you are required to break that code before you can understand the meaning of every single teaching in it, from A to Z. Okay? And by the way, you need to also know that the Bible is the form you see it today is it didn't come from that form. It didn't come that way. You think that it came that way. And this is what these teachings in the Christendom make you believe. Make you believe all kinds of things that are not backed scripturally. That book is actually a collection of different books, different literature. People collected different manuals of literature written by different people and put it together and tell you that's the Bible. And in your head, you think, just like you have an image of God in the sky in your head. In your head, you think that when Moses went to bring the 10 Commandments, that is where this whole thing, that's how you brought it. No, that's not what it is. Okay? But that will be a topic for another day. But what you should know today, it is a collection book written by different people, most even unknown. Nobody knows who wrote them. But the interesting thing about that book is that, in as much as it was a different collection, okay, bringing different things are different, all of those different people don't know themselves, and they weren't writing for the same goal. Each of them were writing based on what was experiential to them as to who human beings are really. They were the past, each of them, themselves, they were the past masters in the art of psychology, the past masters that found out that our entire physical world is only but subjective to our consciousness. So what that simply means, it is the found that it was our consciousness that was producing the entire physical world we are experiencing today. So the cause is from us within. And they are right. Okay? Because take, for example, everything in your physical world today, including you, okay, everything in your physical world first started here. The phone I'm using, this mic I am using, the seat I'm sitting down on, even the house I am in, the same applies to you. All things man first conceived it in their consciousness. And people don't always ask, who is that observer? One that is responsible for all of these things. That observer is consciousness. That's what is tagged in the Bible. That's what is represented in the Bible as God, Lord, King of Kings, this, that, and all of those things. Okay? And that's the simplest way to understand it, or maybe the scientific way to put it is energy. Everything you see in this world today, both the form and the formless, are all energy vibrating at different frequencies. So the God of your Bible is that scientifically they have proved it is energy, taking the different forms, solid state, liquid state, different state. They are all energy. It was stated in Genesis. Okay. And how did everything came into being? Everything came into being through what the Eastern mystics call the roar. The roar, the great roar. Okay. In the Bible, it is God moved. Genesis 1. Movement. That's the roar. Okay. But that's the topic for another day. So prayer, let's just go back to what we're doing. We're treating it in less than 30 minutes. So what is prayer? How does prayer help you? Prayer and faith. What is prayer? What is faith? How do they help you for transformative living? That's what we want to treat today. What is prayer and faith? How do they help you for transformative living? The essence of this is, I've seen a lot of video online where people tell you why your reasons, all these Christendom followers tell you why your prayers are not answered. They tell you need to do this, you need to, all of it. They tell you that because you're not doing this, it's because you're not doing that. It's because you're not doing that. Okay, you're not praying in midnight. Someone said you are not praying. It's because you're not praying in midnight by 3 a.m. It was 3 a.m. that Paul and Silas prayed and the prison door broke. So because you are not praying by 3 a.m., that's why they tell you things that are uncomfortable and difficult to implement. That's what they do. They make prayer a complex exercise. They teach you, whether knowingly or unknowingly, that prayer is rocket science. And I'm here today to tell you that you have actually been praying every seconds of your life, right from the day your mother gave birth to you into this earth, just the way you breathe out. But it's just that you don't know. And the reason why you don't know, again, is the faulty teaching of the mainstream religion. Okay? They teach you the Bible in the way the Bible was never meant to be taught. They teach it just at the surface level, the literal level. It's a book that is coded. You must break that code to understand it and take the substance and apply it. Okay, so these guys teach you these things. I mean, if you go to Matthew, okay, it clearly tells you how to pray and how to not to pray. Watch our video on YouTube here, how to pray. We've done that where we listed how to pray and how not to pray. All of those things are clearly written in Matthew. And all those things you see in Matthew where it says, don't stand in the synagogue to pray, don't go into your door, close your and look up to, is the way they are praying. Those things they tell you not to do is what they are doing. They stand everywhere, they shout. Don't use verbal repetition, but they're using verbal repetition. They shout and all of those things. They do all of those things, all kinds of things that the Bible says don't do that. So that's why their prayers are not answered. But because they do not have the original deeper meanings of the Bible teachings, which is psychological, they don't know it, they then begin to come up with different kinds of things as to why your prayers are not answered. They will not tell you to go to, it's because you are not praying by 3 a.m. in the midnight. They tell you need to go to mountain. This one powerful pastor, when he prays, your prayer will be answered. Okay, they keep telling you, pointing you to the wrong direction, which is all things outside of yourself. And the Bible is a book of source. I know why I call it a book of source. It's a book that addresses the source out of which everything comes forth. And the source is your consciousness. That's where everything, there is nothing, according to John 1:3, but there is nothing that is made. Everything went through your consciousness, and there was nothing that is made that was not made out of it. And that's why I tell you, everything first begins in your consciousness. This mic I am using, the shirt I am wearing, the phone, even up till my, burning me into my parents first started here. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything started here. Okay, so the Bible is a book that speaks to your consciousness, your internal world. Because the outside world is ephemeral, is changes, based on what is here. The moment you are able to alter here, okay, then it will reflect in your internal world. That's why you see the internal world is always ephemeral. It's ephemeral in nature, always fleeting, changing. Okay, so take all of those things. Okay, make prayer a very complex exercise. Okay, something you need to be terrified about, something you need to be uncomfortable with to get an answer. That's why people will live where they live, go to dangerous locations in the name of they are going to mountains to go and pray, but in all of that they still not get answered. Why? Because they have the teaching just threw their attention away from their focus, away from the actual source, into all other kinds of things. Okay, so today we want to help you correct these age-long teachings from the mainstream religious teachers. So what is prayer? The word translated prayer means motion towards, ascension to, in the vicinity of. So it simply means prayer is motion. And creation starts when God moved. The ancient mystics call it the roar, when God moved. Now, this motion is not a physical motion. It is motion in your consciousness, because everything begins in the consciousness. Okay? So, motion towards. Now, let's explain this further. How is emotion towards? Okay? That's the original, this definition is original meaning of prayer. Now, how it's motion towards is, if you go to Mark 11:24, it says, therefore I tell you, that's where prayer was addressed. Okay? He said, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. So anything you ask for in prayer, he said, believe that you have already received it and it will be yours. So what is believe? Believe is faith. Now, Hebrew 11:1-2 says, it defines faith. Now, we're already defining faith, because remember, it's unbottling prayer and faith. We're already defining faith. It says, Hebrew 11:1 says, it defines faith as the assurance of things hoped for, the convictions of things not seen. What does that mean to you? It means knowing. Belief is knowing. This is the right belief, not the belief of God in the sky. This one is the belief to mold your life as a simple. That's the tool you use to mold your life as a sin pleasing to you. Okay, knowing that you are the God and there's no one in the sky. So the God that you are, okay, which is you. This is how you have always created your life experiences, and you continue to do it. Okay, we're just now trying to teach you how to consciously do it by identifying all of those things and what they are and how to apply them. Okay, the only difference between the way you have been doing it before now is that you don't even know that it is your consciousness that is producing your physical world outcome. You think it's something outside of you. That's why you keep chasing, jumping from one church to the other, looking for one spiritual director, prophet and prophetesses, anything outside of you. But the solution is in you. What do you define for Sokoto? They your Sokoto in the Nigerian palace. Okay, so what is belief? It defines, Hebrew 11:1 defines it as the assurance of things hoped for. What is assurance? Assurance is you already know it's done. That's assurance. He went further to say the convictions of things not seen. It's not here, but if you can apply the belief you have in, which is not there, if you can just apply that level of belief to anything you ever seek. Every desire you want to be better than your physical world, anything or any current problem that is existing you want to solve, if you can apply that same belief, that's what Hebrew is telling you here, it will be done for you. And that's what Mark and Hebrew they are telling you here. So the combination of this Mark 11:24 and Hebrew 11 is all of that movement. Okay, so now how does it think of a vehicle? You need to move from your house to the office. You enter the vehicle. So there's your house point A and there's the office point B, and you want to go to the what? Enter your vehicle. That helps that movement. Now that movement itself is what the prayer is. That's why it is motion toward, okay, ascension to. So that's the movement, because prayer is motion. Okay, the intention of that movement is to hit a milestone, realize something. So you enter that car, is moving. Maybe that car can move. It needs a fuel. That fuel is faith. So what it's telling you is what prayer, and faith, both of them are what is required for you to achieve anything you want to achieve. Anything, all things are possible to him that believe. All things. You have been using this phenomenon to create all your physical world experiences. What I always tell people who are following me is that even a drop of pin from your hand, you created it. All things, including a drop of pin, mistaken drop of pin from your hand. All things are possible to you if you believe. That's what the Bible said. And believe is faith. Okay? Believe is faith. Okay? Prayer. The movement towards A to B, that's prayer. The fuel that helps you A to B, that helps you move from A to B, is faith. So both of them work hand in hand. Way to understand it better is Joel 3:10. 3:10 summarizes, pull together. Joel 3:10 pull together prayer and faith. Okay, what does it say? Joel 3:10. It says, beat your plowshare into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Pruning hooks into spears. Let the weakling say, I am strong. Okay, now a plowshare converted, it was a plowshare, then it was converted to sword. It's a movement. Okay, you require movement to convert it from plowshare to sword. You also require a movement, okay, to convert pruning hooks into spears. It's not telling you that's the same movement that is required to convert weakling to strong. Okay, now let us break it down in practical way. You now know prayer is movement. You now know to make that movement, you need to have fuel, which is faith, to get you from what? A to B. Now, if you go back to that Mark 11:24, it said, when you pray, believe you have received and you will receive. Two things are involved there. Okay? When you pray, you are still at the moving. You have not reached B, but there is B, and that B is desire you want to embody. That's what you're praying about. That's the intention of that movement. So there is desire. That's a state. A conditioned state is desire. Okay, there is a state desire, there is a conditioned desire, and then there is a state fulfillment or condition fulfillment. Prayer is move from A to B. Okay, move from A to B. But to make that movement, you must apply faith. And that faith is not telling you what you hope for. Take it as assured that it's surely you've already gotten it. That's assurance of the things hoped for. That what you are, that movement because you want to get B, right? That movement to B, just you need to, for you to now get B, what Mark 11 is saying is you need to accept that you already have B to experience B. So that's faith and prayer. Okay, so what is simply saying, if you look at that jewel, is to reorientate. What does reorientating mean? Is that there's a condition, desire, dream you want to experience. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter whether you want a child, whether you want a husband or a wife, whether you want wealth, whether you want wisdom, whether you want health, it doesn't matter. That's why said he said it as okay, he said it whatever. And by the way, note that whatever includes even the things that you don't like, by the way, because it's whatever, all things is good, bad, indifferent. This principle applies to every bad thing or something that is not good that has appeared in your physical world. It was through this principle they came. That's why you need to be conscious of this principle. That's why I'm taking my time to explain it like this, because that's what has been creating all your life experiences, is this principle of prayer with faith. That's why even in the Bible, God said, it is said that you cannot please God without faith. Faith is the central jet of truth of the Bible. You need to reorientate. What do I mean by reorientate? There is an orientation. You need to now reorientate. What does that mean? There is a desire, a dream. It could be in form of, there's a goal you want to achieve. It could be in form of, you want to achieve healthfulness. You're sick, but you want to be whole. You want to heal. Okay? It could be that you're barren, you want to be fruitful. It could be that you're single, you want to be married. It could be that you're poor, you want to be rich. It could be that you lack wisdom, you want to have wisdom. Whatever it is, according to Mark, whatever. It could even be that you are rich and you want to be poor. It includes, or it is part of that whatever. Okay? So now, how do you reorientate? You reorientate to meet your goal. That's called the principle of revision. It simply means flip. So what Mark is saying, what Joel is saying, is what? Flip from plowshare to sword. Flip from pruning hooks to spear. Mark said, flip it, and you experience it. So what does it mean? I have a condition, I have a desire. It's okay to have a desire. It's simply what you want to experience. Okay? So it's perfectly okay. In fact, desire is the gift of God. How is the gift of God? Knowing that you are God and there's no God external to you. It is that your true self wanting to experience that particular thing. So the way to experience it is the moment that desire comes up. I need a new car. Flip. What does flip mean? What does reorientate mean? You reorientate it to you already have the car. And how do you know you already have the car? That's where the secret of creation comes in. The way to know is what? Is true feeling. The way you feel when you don't have the car must be different from the way you feel when you have the car. Isn't it? If I have the car, I feel a certain way. If I don't have the car, I feel a certain way. I feel the lack of not having the car. If I have the car, I feel a certain way. I feel the fulfillment of having it. So what Mark 11 is saying, what Joel is telling you, is reorientate from the feeling of not having the car to the feeling of having the car already. That's just what they're saying. That's just how to get your prayer answered and not start chasing one man of God or when all those people are just taking advantage of your ignorance. They are taking advantage of your ignorance for their own selfish purpose. A selfish purpose that is built on the fact they don't even understand this principle I am teaching you about prayer. Because if they do, they won't be deceiving you or taking advantage of your ignorance to enrich themselves. Because they too they don't know this principle, they cannot apply it. Anybody that knows it and can apply it will not need your offering, will not need your tithe, will not need to deceive you to drink olive oil, will not need to deceive you to go to the mountain to pray, will not be telling you that you need to pray by 3 a.m. in the midnight when you should be sleeping. Will not be telling you it's because you are sinning, that's why your prayers are not answered. In fact, sin is actually unanswered prayer, not the breaking of, not a cause of prayer, not responsible for prayer not being answered. It is the end itself. When your prayer is not answered, you have sinned. The word translated sin means to miss the mark. And whenever you have a desire, it's not yet in your physical world. Okay, you have missed the mark. So you have sinned. So the moment your prayer is not answered, that in itself, unanswered prayer is sin. That's why I'm taking my time to explain these things so that you understand it. You need to begin to, unlearn all of those flawed, unworkable teachings of the mainstream religion. Because all of those teachings are geared towards their own gains, not you. Have you ever wondered why a pastor who claims to have a supernatural power, to have access to that God the people are looking for in the sky, okay, that pastor Gio who claims he's the gatekeeper of the kingdom of God, will open his mouth and tell you that you require faith to be healed, and you have to apply that faith. If you require faith to be healed, if it is me that will apply faith to get what I want, why do I now need you in the first place? Do you know why it is like that? Because their teachings, okay, why that confusion is there? Their teachings is designed to make you believe that they have a supernatural power. They can lay their hands on you and you will get healed. That's what it is. Now, when they see it is not working, they what? They throw the blame at you. They tell you the ball is in your court, that it is your faith that made you not to get healed. And because you're ignorant, you would think it's your faith. Oh yeah, now, if it's your faith, oh yeah, show faith now. You can't show faith because they don't know this information. Okay, they don't know the true deeper meanings of the Bible teachings, so they haven't even taught you how to apply, how to exercise faith. They haven't taught you that because they themselves don't know it. No, is to design such a way they pretend they look. They know they do not have that power. If truly they ever think they have that power, then that's a mental problem. Maybe schizophrenia or something. They need to go do checkup. Okay? Mark made it clear that the only way to get whatever you are asking for in prayer, to get it answered, is through believing. And that's what I've been teaching you with this reorientate, flip, is to believe that feeling. Believe that you already have it. That's when I told you the way to believe you already have it. That's when I told you you need to understand the feeling you would feel, the feeling you have when it's not there, which is a feeling of life. The feeling you have when it is already there, which is a feeling of gratitude. When you receive something, how do you show you have received something? It's through gratitude. That is the praise of the Bible. That is the offering that Abel gave to God, that God accepted. That is faith. When you hear worship, when you hear gratitude, when you hear praise in the Bible, what they are pointing to you is feeling of gratitude. Because gratitude shows receivership. You have received it already. So that means that for you to receive anything, you need to feel gratitude other than feeling lack. That's that reorientating. That's that flipping. That's that principle of revision. So I have this lack. It's okay for you to have the lack. You have this desire. It's okay for you to have desire. I've explained why it's okay. Okay. But now where the issue is not betting it in your physical world. It's not going to pray by 3 a.m. in the night. It's going to for a man of God to lay his hands on you or not. No, all of those things are garbage. They are anti-scriptural. That's not what the Bible taught at all. The only condition is in Mark 11, Joel 3:10, Hebrew 11:1. These 3 Bible passages gives you how you can bet anything. You say whatever. Mark 11 said whatever. You can bet anything in your physical world. Anything. Even the bad ones. Because that's how you have been doing it. But because you don't know this scripture, you don't know that's what is happening. Don't let anybody continue to deceive you. That they don't have any power. I'm telling you. All those things are make believe. At best, they can be placebo. You know placebo effect? Even the so-called juju. They are all placebo effect. For those of you who don't know, there are scientific ways where they tell you these drugs will treat you. They have a group of people and they will give them the drug that will treat them. Then they'll have a group of people, they will give what looks like that drug. There's not that drug that will treat them. So because you're thinking that they've given you that drug that treats you, take it. What scientists have found out is that those people who take that placebo drugs, that they get healed. But the only thing they did was to make them believe that that drug they are taking will cure that ailment, that disease. So you see, at the end of the day, it is that belief. And because they believe scientists of the world, one night, I get you, they are taking it, they don't know what they are taking. It is not any drugs. They take it. And scientists then began to find out that this thing heals them. So you see, it is not all those going to mount. It is not praying in the midnight. All those things are man's construct. They are anti-scriptural. They are not back scriptural. It is your belief. That's what people will tell you. It is your mindset. It is that mindset. It is actually your belief. That is that what I am teaching today. That's what it is. Assurance of things hoped for. Once they give them that drugs, it's an assurance for them. The conviction is a conviction. The scientist, this doctor has given me that. He said that is that drugs. They take and they walk. Now your belief they do. Those things dictate it is your belief, and it is backed scripturally. Let me show you where it is scripturally. That should be Romans 12:12. Okay. Is that Romans 12:12? What am I not seeing? No, it's not Romans 12:12. Okay. Romans 14:14. Romans 14:14. What does it say? You say, I am convinced, being fully persuaded in the Lord. Listen, that nothing is unclean in itself. This is the Bible saying this. But if anyone regards something as unclean, then for that person it is unclean. This is pointing you to the power that you have. It says, in the Lord, in knowing that you are God. God is a creator. I am is the one creating. That's I am of the Bible. Is the one creating. With knowing that, okay, in knowing that, okay, that there is nothing unclean. That thing is saying, it doesn't mean there is something, but it's saying there's nothing that is impossible. That's what that thing means psychologically, if you decode it in itself. But if anyone regards something as unclean, the one you believe to be impossible, it will be impossible to you. The one you believe is possible, it will be possible to you. The power all lies in each and every one of us, and not with someone else or that image in your head that you think is in the sky. We are the God of the Bible. We are the one creating. We are the potter, the God of creating all our life experiences. Yes. Stop letting people deceive you that it's because you did not do this. That's why this didn't happen. All that is required is to understand prayer, what prayer truly means, which is a movement from your desire state to your fulfillment state. That's that movement. And in moving from that desire state to the fulfillment state, you need to add fuel to the vehicle that is leading you there. Okay? That vehicle is the prayer. The fuel is the faith. So it is through faith that gets you there. It's that fuel that gets you there. That fuel is faith. That's what all of these things teaches. Okay? It lies with you. And your mainstream Christian teachers know it. That's why they tell you. Is it not? It's your faith that you need to do. They will not start saying they are doing faith clinic. They are teaching you how to have faith. Anybody that is teaching you how to have faith that did not teach you that faith is feeling, the person no know what faith be. And if you don't know, no go teach anybody. Anybody that is teaching you how to, you go to a faith clinic or any faith school or whatever they call it. If that person, the truth of the matter is that you have been exercising faith, but you don't know it. You have been praying, but you don't know it. They taught you the wrong version of prayer. The one clearly stated in Matthew that that's not how to pray. They tell you that, and you have been praying that way, and that's why your prayers are not. So you have been exercising faith, but you don't know it. You have been praying, but you don't know it. Prayer is not verbal. It's wordless. Growing means too deep. Let's go there. Let's show you. Growing means too deep. It's growing in, not feeling. Romans 8:26. Is that Romans 8:26? Growing in too deep for words. Go and watch our video. Go and search all our video. We've taught all of these things. Growing in too deep for words. Yeah. Growing in too deep for words. That's Romans 8:26. Romans 8:26. How do I get out of this site now? I don't understand again. Enter site, lock me in there. No one might come out. Okay, I come out to you like this now. Growing in too deep for words. Yeah, that's Romans 8:26. I was correct in the first place. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit itself intercedes for us through wordless groaning. Even this Bible call it wordless. I told you prayer is wordless. They call this wordless. So a particular verse say, because the Spirit intercedes for God's people in accordance with God's will. So it's growing in too deep for words. Growing in too deep for words. Is a feeling. Is a feeling. Okay. So anybody who is teaching you faith without letting you know that faith is feeling. Believe, right? They tell you is believe, obviously. Yeah. You know, no, faith is believe. So believe, right? Now, how do you believe? I want to show you how faith is feeling. How do you believe? The way you believe. Because according to Joel 3:10, it says, let the weak say I'm strong. It's not say verbally like people do today. They tell you verbally, hey, if they are sick, they will say, I am strong. No, that's not what that Bible verse means. But if you're following the literal Christendom teaching, that's what it means. And it doesn't work. It's unworkable. Because it's not the direction the Bible meant it. Okay? So it's believe, right? So believe. So the way to believe is to act. For you to act, you need to feel. That's why I told you, in a desire state, you feel a certain way. You feel you lack that. Now, in fulfillment state, you feel in a certain way. You feel you already have it. So feeling is faith, and that's the secret of creation. So to change anything, in all of these stories I've been telling here, okay, to change anything, you need to feel, flip, reorientate your feeling. That's what you actually do. So if the thing you want to change is you want to be fruitful from barren, you're barren, right? Okay, because look, every desire is an indication of lack. So desire is actually a lack. How? If I want a brand new phone, it shows I don't have a brand new phone. Okay, so your desire is showing you what is lacking. Now, I already have that desire. Desire is actually what is lacking. Okay, now since desire is what is lacking, you need to reorientate that thing that is lacking into fulfillment. That is prayer. And in reorientating it, you need faith. And so the way to reorientate the faith in it is to feel. Okay, that's why I explained. So the moment there's a desire, if you flip a desire, like the moment you see a desire, what you see is lack. Desire is showing you something is not there. You should put it there. Okay, so that's what desire is saying. Okay, so it's a lack. So that desire is lack. So that lack now, okay, you need to move to the solution. That's prayer. Moving to the solution is prayer. Okay, you need to move to the solution of that lack. That's prayer. Okay, now in moving to that solution, you need feeling, which is faith. Okay, so how? When I'm lacking, I feel a certain way. I feel that lack. When I am not lacking, I already have it. I feel a certain way. I feel gratitude. So what Mark, Joel, and all of these guys are telling you is the moment you notice by the way, Facebook has already gone off. They are struggling so much with network. That's fine. Our major focus is for our life really is on our YouTube channel, because YouTube is more accommodating with life. Facebook usually take it down at a point. So what we now do is we make short videos of our teachings and post on Facebook. Okay, so that's okay. They can go. So let's conclude it here. So the moment there is desire, that's an indication of lack. Okay, and a lack comes with a feeling. You feel it's not there. You feel worried. You feel disturbed. You feel do you understand? Now, what Mark, Joel, all of those guys are saying is that to get that desired state, that is to get that fulfillment, you don't wait to get the fulfillment. What you do is you start feeling that the fulfillment is already there. So it's that feeling that the fulfillment is already there that then draws it. Because nature abhors vacuum. Okay, the moment I am feeling that the thing is already there, nature will rush to fill it because it abhors vacuum. That's feeling, that's faith, that's prayer, that's faith, and that faith is feeling. So feeling is the fuel that gets you from the point of lack, which is that desire state, to the point of fulfillment, okay, which is what? The gratitude state. Okay, so how do you practically apply these things? The practical way I've always teach this thing is one fundamental question you need to ask. I already have that lack. I already have that desire state, and it's okay. It's something I want to experience. So now, where the issue lies is how to now bet it in my physical world. The way to now alter the feeling so that you start feeling, to start feeling the fulfillment instead of the gratitude of the fulfillment, instead of the lack, is what? Ask yourself this question. You must ask yourself this question. How would I feel if my wish is already fulfilled? How would I feel if my wish is what? Already fulfilled? The moment you ask yourself that question, in your consciousness, you begin to understand how you will feel if it has already been fulfilled. Catch that feeling and start feeling it, because that feeling is the key to betting that desire state, which is that state of lack, flipping it, reorientating it into state of fulfillment, which is gratitude. Okay? So once you ask yourself that question, catch the feeling and begin to feel it. Persist in it. Persistence is there. It's part of the key to achieving it. So feeling is not enough. You must persist in it. So you what? You persist in it. And what? It will be bettered in your physical world. So you don't need to pray in the midnight. You don't need to fast. 30 days fasting, 100 days fasting. You don't need all of those things. All of those things are man's construct to deflect your attention away from their intended tricks, which is they are simply after what is in your pocket. Okay? God doesn't need money from you. You are the God. Do you need money from yourself to do whatever you need to do for yourself? No. And all things are possible. And you know what bothers me here is that, do you know that 99.9% of Christians, what I just teach you now is self-help, how to heal yourself by yourself without the aid of any man. 99.9% of the Christians in this part of the world do not know that it is possible to heal oneself. And if you have listened to this video, this is the way. And this is the only way for everything that comes into your physical world. The ones that have come in the past, the ones that are there right now, the ones that will be there tomorrow. It is only this way. There's no other way. Let me repeat. There is no other way. All those do this and do this and do that and do that and do that. If you do not apply belief, you will never achieve it. I'm telling you. Okay? Even if you think they worked, they did not work because they have that supernatural power. They did not work because they that their sacrifice they put in the ash in the calabash and told you to put in 4 roads or whatever. They didn't work because of that. Nothing can work without your consent. That's what that Romans 14:14 clearly stated. And your consent is that you believe it is possible, knowingly or unknowingly. That's placebo effect. They don't know. Somebody tricked them into believing it's possible, and it worked. And he worked. Okay. The only reason why it works is because they themselves have applied the key that helps it work. So all those Uduaka Mili, the Dibia is doing for you. All those Okite, they are doing for you. All of those are all of those sacrifices that they are doing for you. All those prayer that geo is powerful and all of those things does not work. It cannot work if you have not applied your belief. So if they want to make it work for you, I can actually teach them how to do it. All they need to do is to deceive you into believing that it will work. One example is this, and I'll end it with this story. There is this guy, Murphy. He's an expert in how the mind works. Okay, he's one of my mentors. He went and had a talk somewhere. After he had a talk, one man from a Haiti met him and said that the son is sick, and the reason why he's sick is the son told him that he cheated a girl. There was a girl he was supposed to marry. He disappointed the girl, so the girl went and then did something to him. Okay, and that thing she did to him caused him sickness. So the son is, and truly the boy was sick. So he asked, after Murphy had taught this kind of thing I taught here, he asked Murphy if he could sponsor him to go help him. And Murphy said, okay, so he sent Murphy to Haiti. Murphy did not go to Haiti and start telling him that that you are healed now, stand up and walk. There's power in my hand. No. All of the people they have done that to, none of them is working today. Let's go and verify now. They should give us empirical evidence. Okay. So do you know what Murphy did? Murphy went and told the guy that, look, my friend, I and your father have gone to meet that voodoo man that did the thing. But before we even went to meet him, we went to meet the girl. We pleaded with the girl. The girl accepted our plea. We now asked her to take us to the juju man that did the jazz, and the girl took them to the juju man. The juju man we paid them money, paid the juju man. He undo that thing that he did to you. Then the girl, we also settled her, so everything is settled now. That your father just sent me to come and break that news to you. So just know that you are now free. And Murphy left, and this guy stood up and started walking, going about his normal business. But what Murphy told him never happened. Murphy just went to give him a placebo effect peer. The guy stood up and walked and went about his normal business. Okay? So if those you're truly men of God want to be using placebo effect, there are better ways to use placebo effect, and not that is in their hands. Okay, well, if in that their hands works for you, as a placebo effect, that's possibility. I'm not denying that's not possible. But what I want you to also know, that there is no placebo effect that can work without your own input. You're the one who decide whether it works for you or not. Okay? So even if you feel that person has healed you, there's one that now pray on YouTube that says it was restoring all the household appliances. Even if truly that happened, it wouldn't have happened without you, is the point I'm making. And if it wouldn't have happened without you, it means you are a being of power. You are an untapped force that is vast and powerful. It means you are God. You are the creator. You are the final bus stop. Yes, you. It wasn't the doctor can administer the placebo effect, but that placebo effect cannot work if you never had that conviction, that assurance in Hebrew 11:1. In Mark 11:24, if you never had that faith, that feeling. So you are not one helpless, powerless individual walking aimlessly on the surface of this earth. You are actually the God the Bible talked about. You are the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. You are the Ancient of Days, the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscience. It is you and no one else. Remember, there is no God except you. Clearly written in the Bible. So, knowing all of this information, practice them. Now, how do you practice? Let's conclude with that. How do you practice? I've told you need to ask. So when you have that lack, that desire, okay, you ask to reorientate it, to flip it, to use the principle of revision, to convert it to fulfillment. You need to start feeling gratitude. And how do you feel gratitude? Ask yourself, what would it feel like if I already have what I wanted? Your consciousness will show you what it will feel like. Start feeling that way, persist in it, and you'll bet that in your physical world. Okay. Another way to do it is just close your eyes, play a scene in your mind where somebody, a friend, a family member, whatever you want to use, in your mind's eye, where that person was congratulating you on your wish fulfilled. Play it, give it all the tones of reality, give it the time impression, time space impression. What is space, time space impression? Space is in your mind's eye. What location in your house would it happen? Would it be you sitting in your couch and that your friend, you bring it close, sitting with you in your couch and telling you congratulations on your new baby if you're not been able to give birth? Would it be in your bed in the bed? So that's the space impression. Now, what's the time impression? Which day did it happen? The truth of the matter is that time does not exist. We are the one that create time. How? Have you ever sat down and today feel like a Monday feel like Sunday to you, or feel like Saturday to you? That's showing you that you're the one who creates time. You create time psychologically. So pick a day. You know how your Monday feel. You know how your Saturday feel. You know how Christmas feel. You know how all of those time season, they all feel. So pick one of them. If it's a Monday, you know how that way that Monday feel. That's, you fix the time space, the time impression. So it is on that Monday that your friend is sitting with you in your couch or on the bed and congratulating you for your new baby. And you accept that congratulation. All these things, you don't do it physically, you do it in your mind's eye. Give it all the tones of reality. Wake up and go about your normal business and continue to maintain that frequency, continue to feel that way and persist in it. Now, there is no time. Nobody knows the time it will happen. That's why the Bible said, even if it will tarry, wait for it. One thing you will be rest assured is it will never be late, because nothing is ever late. Okay? So that's how to apply prayer, feelings, to get any result. Remember, Mark said, whatever you ask, whatever, okay? Whatever you ask, okay? The only thing you're not getting are the things you believe you can get. That's the only thing you can get. Thank you for joining us on our Depth Foundation class today, where we have reviewed, unbundled, unpacked prayer and faith, where we have shown you why many pray but few get answered. Few get answers. So know it today that transformative living begins when prayer stops being words and become faith. Okay? It stops when prayer stops being words and becomes faith. Okay? Thank you again for listening. Join us every Sunday, 9 a.m., same time, same place, for more revelation of esoteric teachings of the Bible, which is the original, the deeper meanings of the Bible teachings. See you in the next one. Like, comment, drop your questions in the comment section. Please share, because you don't know who needs this to transform their life, okay? And just practice this. Just like Paul said, test. Do you not know that Christ is in you? Unless you test it and see if you are God and no one else. See you and have a pleasant rest of the day. Bye.